God fucking damn it.
That's a good start right there.
Oh, and I hit the wrong button. Oh, you're talking about a good start.
Come on, man.
Hey, everybody, it's time for GMG in the Raw Live. Grab your favorite beverage of choice and join us as we discuss the Minnesota Vikings. Feel free to add in your comments, and we'll talk about them on air. GMG in the Raw Live is about to start. Look at the countdown timer. Once it hits 0, we're starting with the best Vikings post-game show out there. Type in your questions, your comments. We'll talk about them. Played. You know what that means. It's time. Skull. Vikings versus Jaguars. GMG in the Raw. And here we are, live. GMG in the Raw. Vikings versus Jaguars. Vikings win, and probably the ugliest game we've seen in a decade. It took overtime and Dan Bailey to finally get his go-ahead win. But anyways, we're all here to celebrate. We have the whole team. Below me, we have the one and only, the Base Ripper, Drewster. How you doing, Drew?
Rock on. Rock on. I'm starting drinking next week because I can't watch any more of these fucking Viking games sober. That's it. We're going to let next week, let the booze run, doing shots, all of it.
And to my viewers, right, we have the one and only, the legend himself, writer of Zimzoo, Stock Market Report, and many others, Mr. Ted Glover.
Hey, I'm going to have a hard time talking. When I just got out of the emergency room, I got a bunch of packing in my mouth. Well, the place I've been feeling. And I was thinking I freaking got watching this game.
Oh!
And last but not least, we have the fantastic, the one and only Mr. Flip.
Here we go, boys.
Yeah, Uncle Nearest.
Uncle Nearest, 1856.
Notice that I notice every Sunday that bottle's the nearest thing to you too.
It gets you through Vikings football. I'm going to be honest, y'all. One thing about this show is we have great interaction with the fans, with the comments. Y'all need to tell me how optimistic on a scale of 1 to 10 to be, because I got no clue. I'll leave it up to Mary and Ryan and Cliff and hear you all in the comments. Y'all let me know.
Optimistic in what regard? In what sense optimistic?
Well, I've been saying all year, we get to 500, then we can start talking about the playoffs. So here we are at 6-6, another Vikings W. They've won 5 out of their last 6 games.
Mm-hmm. They have.
I'm scoreboard watching right now, because if the Arizona Cardinals lose this game, then the Vikings would be in the playoff race. They'd be in the playoffs if the playoffs started today. So y'all let me know. Cliff is saying I should be a 3. Ryan saying I should be a -12. So if you want pessimistic flip, I'm going to give you pessimistic flip. But just know that you asked for it this time.
We made 500. We've won 5 out of 6. They happen to be the ugliest wins we've seen in a long, long time. But it's 2020, and anything can happen, as we've seen.
Anthony said a 0, so I'm taking this. I'm allowed to be pessimistic right now.
Reggie's boom boom skull. Let's go, baby.
It's called realistic. It's not only it's called pessimistic. I'm happy. The only thing I can hang my hat on is that we won this game. Other than that, pessimistic almost all the way across the board.
I mean, this is it's unacceptable. It's fucking unacceptable, man. It's you look at what the Vikings have done. They start 1-5, they improve, they go 5-1. But you look at the teams they're playing. We're beating a 4-8 Houston team on the last play of the game. We beat 4-8 Carolina on the last play of the game. And now you need overtime to beat a 1-10 Jacksonville squad. What makes us think that we can beat winning football teams, that we can actually contend in the playoffs? Just does anybody have an actual reason for why this team would get hot?
No, I don't.
No.
They have the offense that could score points. They have in the past, and they tend to play to their competitors' level. We've seen it so far this season.
I said, no. You know what? I know you guys got a lot to talk about. I'm just going to look at the standpoint of, you got a team that lost 10 straight games coming in. Let's just look at the first half for a second. 3 plays, punt. 5 plays, punt. 3 plays, punt. The Vikings are playing against a team that's second to last in the entire NFL in defense. 31st is second to last. Mm-hmm. And they roll up 115 total yards in the first half. I mean, that is... Do they not game plan for their opponent? Because it looks like the same offense, the same 3 plays every week. There's no creativity. It's just... I don't think they game plan for the opponent. I don't.
The pattern.
You know what, guys? They just wasted 2 quarters of football. They just wasted 2 quarters. They wasted the whole first half. Why do they waste so much football? They waste time. They waste drives. They waste plays. And then they're scratching for a fucking win because they can't. It's like they sleepwalk the whole. I mean, you're watching that first half. What is going through your guys' minds when you're watching that offense?
It was very much the same old to me. I mean, we talked about this on the pregame show. This is a game. If there ever was a game in the NFL that you should just go out and take control from the beginning and win like 27-10 or 31-13 or whatever, it was this game. And yet at halftime, the Vikings are behind, and then to open the second half, I think it was the very first play of the third quarter. Might have been the second play. Kirk threw a pick 6. And all of a sudden you're looking at, here we go again. I mean, I don't get it. I honestly don't get it with this team, this iteration of the Vikings. I just don't. And and people are talking about at the end in overtime, they won, and Bailey missed that 51-yard field goal to not send it into overtime. And again, I go back to the situational awareness. Should Dan Bailey have made that 51-yard kick? Yeah, he should have.
Should he have made the 2 extra points and not needed that 51-yard?
The Vikings piss poor played that drive, Ted. They piss poor played it, man.
They did. I mean, but on the play before, Bailey missed that 51-yarder. Why do you not throw 10 or 15 yards? You had enough time to throw over the middle to get 10, 15, maybe guy breaks a tackle, gets 20, 25 yards. You run up, you spike the ball with under 10 seconds left, and now you've got a much more kicker-friendly situation for Bailey to make a field goal in. We're talking 30 to 35 yards, 40 at the outside. But Cousins throws deep to Jefferson, who almost made a great play. Hats off. I think he had a great game. And now you're, once again, you're not putting your players in the best possible situation to win the game. And they didn't do that all day until guys like Harrison Smith and Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen started making plays, and they took it upon themselves to make plays. They were sleepwalking through this game again, and I'm kind of done with it. I'm just kind of done.
Yeah, I can't blame you there, Ted. I think you look at the matchup side of the ball. The Vikings come out running in this game. That is absolutely appropriate, Drew, to go back to your point of, do they game plan for Jacksonville? Yes, you look at Jacksonville going into this game, you say, we're going to run the ball down this fucking team's throat, and we're not going to get stopped because we have the best running back in the league. But you look at what our offensive line do today. They were not ready. They had a no push. Dakota Dozier is a huge liability. I have no idea what they see in him, why he's still on the field, why you cut Pat Elflein when you've got that joke starting for you at left guard. They can't enforce their will on the opponent, and that's what leads to all these questions where you get late in the game and they're like, well, we can't trust Dalvin Cook because he fumbled. We can't trust Dan Bailey because he just missed the last 2 extra points. It's like, what does this team do well? They throw it to Justin Jefferson. They throw it to Adam Thielen. They refuse to do it for the majority of the game, and it's because their offensive line is not up to the task. They challenge their offensive line. They fail them. The defensive line also had a very weak start to this game. They came on stronger in the second half. But again, just you tell your players during the week, what can you do well? And you challenge them going into Sunday. There is no excuse for the emotional and mental makeup that this team has going into the football game. And that is where Mike Zimmer is failing this football team.
Yeah.
They're not ready to play. They're not ready.
They're not.
They figure it out during the game, but they're not ready at the start of the game.
No, they came out
was kind of my leading point,
flat as flat. And what did we say in the pregame show? We said they've got to come out hot, but most likely they'll come out flat because they've lost so many games at home and they've always been flat. And we were hesitant and didn't trust them to come out on fire for justifiable reasons because they don't.
It's not just this season though. That's a Zimmer pattern, dude. I mean, if you admit it coming out flat has been a Viking. Geez, man. I mean, you can go over game after game after game after game. I don't understand how you don't have your team ready to play. I mean, come on, dude.
It's baffling. It is truly baffling how flat this team looks more often than not to begin the game. I can't
especially
explain
at home. Not so much on the road, but especially at home they do, and it's baffling.
It's on the coach.
It's
the head coach.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And
we need to hire a psychologist for our next head coach.
The
we
apologist
just
will
need to
say,
hire a
better
coach
coach
that knows what the hell he's doing to open up a game is what they need.
There we go. How about that idea?
Sorry, Flip. Go ahead. I didn't mean to step on you. Go ahead, brother.
Oh no, I'm just saying. Like the apologist will say, Eric Kendricks gets injured in the pregame warm-up. That obviously has an effect on the defense. And look, I expected it to be a lot harder once Kendricks goes down. And the defense, they let up the touchdown, they let off the field goal in the first 2 drives. They recover from that, which was great. That's exactly what you want to see from the defense. But look, Eric Kendricks getting injured does not affect your offense. When Eric Kendricks goes down, your offense needs to say, okay, it's on us to step it the fuck up, go straight down, score on the first drive of the game, score on the second drive of the game, challenge yourself to be great. And none of that happens on this team. Nobody's willing to say, oh, we have a weakness there. Well, I'm going to be the strength. We just don't see it.
And it blows my mind. These guys have been playing football since they were junior high-ish somewhere. And don't they, this is, to me, when we played ball, we had to self-motivate. We listened to music, we did things, we got ready. And to have the entire squad come in flat, whether it be offense or defense, and I agree with you, Flip. Offense should have said, hey, this one's on us. We just lost Kendricks on the D side.
But we're fat and in our 50s, so we never got past high school. So what we did doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I'm saying the coach, Drew's telling me the coach is responsible for having these guys motivated, all 60-some of them when you talk practice squad, every single week. And these guys have been playing football. They're Class A personalities. They've been the ones that have been working out in the gym, doing all that stuff without a coach snapping the whip, right?
No, it's on
So it's
Zimmer.
not Zimmer's fault, is what you're saying.
It's on Zimmer.
No, I'm saying it's on their fault too.
Here we go.
I mean,
I can't put everything on Zimmer.
Dakota Dozier.
You don't put anything on Zimmer.
Okay.
Oh, I do. There's parts of that game that do. But not everything is on Zimmer. Zimmer's not the one missing extra points and field goals. Zimmer's not the one that's coming in off flat.
Zimmer's the one who's telling his offense, his special teams coordinator, he still has a fucking job. Why is that guy still employed? That's on Zimmer.
Welcome
okay,
to
Zimmer's the guy who's like, oh, KJ Osborne, he was the captain in college. Let's have him back there returning punts. Our longest punt return for the year is a 7-yard return. Are you fucking kidding me? That's on Zimmer. If you see a problem, fix it. And Mike Zimmer, what he does is he sits down and he says, everything is okay. Everything is okay. We'll figure it out. No, fuck that with the complacency. Get rid of the guys who need to go, see a problem, fix the problem.
On This Week with Buttery Nut Rubs with Dave Stefano, he talks to Mike Zimmer and just lauds over how great he is.
And Mike Zimmer shit-cans half the team and doesn't have a full squad to come in next week.
I mean, you want to talk about Zimmer? Talk about how Anthony Harris has, after a incredible season, Anthony Harris is just a guy now. We need a huge year out of him. We're not getting in. Talk to me about Mike Zimmer and his defensive line, how we found studs across that defensive line for years, for the entire Mike Zimmer generation. We've built up day 3 picks, Brian Robeson, Everson Griffin. Where is that now? None of those guys are making an impact play. So don't tell me that I can't expect good play from DJ Wanham when we got it from Everson Griffin and Brian Robeson in Mike Zimmer's past. This is
as a rookie? No, we didn't get them as rookies.
Oh my goodness! Like Daniil Hunter was flashing on a weekly basis
at the second half of the season, and one of them started to flash. But he was out for an injury.
I'm not talking about Mike.
It takes time for players to develop.
You learn. You learn after a while, not even to bring it up.
You start showing it now. Did it take Justin Jefferson this long to develop? We've got Cam Dantzler developing. We've got Jeff Gladney developing. But that defensive line performance was unacceptable today. We're playing
I agree, it
the
sucks.
worst offense in the NFL. It's not like we're playing the Chiefs.
Okay.
Fire everybody. Get rid of the whole team. Forfeit the rest of the season.
Hold on, Dave. You just said the defensive line play sucked, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just said everybody agrees
today,
defensive line play sucked, right?
Yeah. They got no push whatsoever.
So let me ask this question. I know DJ Wanham is hurt. I believe he didn't play today because he's
hurt. He's out.
But if why is James Lynch not getting more playing time? Because I've seen more flash and talent from James Lynch I think that one Seattle game than I have seen from Jalen Holmes, and that hurts my heart because Jalen Holmes is an Ohio State guy. But than I've seen from Jalen Holmes, Jaleel Johnson, and Shamar Stephen all freaking season. Yet James Lynch is buried on the bench.
Maybe he's bad in practice. I have no idea. What was that quarterback that we had that was so good during the preseason games? But he was lousy in practice.
No,
I have no
he's
idea.
not allowed. Okay. Look,
There's a reason why people are practice
look,
squad guys and
the
second stringers and third
the
stringers.
Minnesota Vikings
versus
are
first
6-6, and they have a real shot at the playoffs. The only way they make the playoffs and hopefully streak into the
to
playoffs
win more games than the Cardinals.
Okay, I don't appreciate that interruption. The only way the Minnesota Vikings win and get into the playoffs is by knowing what problems they have and fixing them. Stop ignoring the issues. Fix the issues. That's all we're saying here. And coaching is one of those issues.
You did talk to the Wilfs on that one. Or at least
Time management is a huge issue. Running the ball on second and long is a huge issue. The ability to limit Mike Glennon through schematic decisions is a huge issue. That's what the Vikings need to do better if they're going to beat Tampa Bay next week, if they're actually going to be serious about a playoff run. Because we have special players doing special things, and now it's just about lifting the bottom of this roster to be competent.
You know, Flip, you brought up a couple of good points. There are consistent themes with this Vikings team. Other than Dan Bailey today, and he was bad, special teams has been atrocious for the most part all season. Their 2-minute offense, other than I think it was just last week. Maybe they had one other good 2-minute drive all season. But it's been bad since Kirk Cousins has been the starting quarterback. It's just been bad. The way they open up games against what most of us would consider to be inferior opponents is bad. I get that the NFL, you can't be fired up and 100% motivated every single solitary week, every single solitary play. I get it. But so every now and then teams are going to have, everybody's just going to collectively have a bad game. Even happens to the Patriots when they had Tom Brady. I get it. But when you have these consistent themes with your football team, darn near week in and week out, at some point, and the personnel changes. The personnel changes. Yet it comes back to one thing. How is this team prepared during the week? And how does this coaching staff react to correct these problems? And they're not. They're just simply not. And yeah, we can talk about playoffs, and if they beat Tampa Bay, their playoff chances go from like I just like in the 30 percentile range right now, but it goes up to like 60% or 70% if they beat Tampa Bay next week. Okay, fine, but A, do you expect them to do anything in the playoffs? And B, is a team with Kirk Cousins being paid that much money, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, the players they have on defense to begin the year, and yeah, they've had injuries, I get it. But is a one and done a reasonable expectation for this team after what they did last year, what they did in 2017, and then they brought in the personnel to even go farther? I would argue it's not. I would argue it's flat out not. And if you can't make improvements and see improvements in what you're doing, and you keep doing the same stupid stuff every week, maybe it's time for a change. That's all I'm saying.
I asked y'all how negative I was allowed to be. I'm just throwing it out there.
Go. I mean, it's just, I hate coming on. I love coming on here, but I hate coming on here to talk about the same stupid things the Vikings do every single week. And it doesn't, other than, Dalvin Cook, and he didn't even have a great game, but we talk about the same dumb things they do.
Yes, we do.
damn near every week. I mean, at what point do you not look to the coaching staff and say, if you guys aren't fixing this, what are you doing?
I just want everybody to realize that we have a mountain to climb when it comes to making the playoffs. And we get criticized for coming on the show every week and just being cognizant of that mountain. Look, at halftime, the announcers were speaking about the Minnesota Vikings and why we were down at halftime, and we were 5-6. You know, we're 6-6. 6-6 is not a good football team in the grand scheme of things. When you look around the NFL, when you watch the Red Zone channel, when you watch Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, 6-6 is not a good football team. We're just trying to be honest about what this football team is and what it needs to do to become great. And I see an opportunity for them to reach those goals, but we didn't see it today. So I'm not going to say we saw it today when we didn't. We saw Justin Jefferson be great. We saw some awesome things from Cameron Dantzler. I love that. Jeff Gladney also, I think, had a very underrated game. You know, I think DJ Chark had one catch for the day. So there's some awesome things about the Minnesota Vikings and where they can go from here, but you have to take the good with the bad. It's even right now. That's what a 6-6 record means.
Let me ask this. Let me ask you guys this question, and Drew, I want you to answer first because you've been kind of quiet and just absorbing things. Does anybody think with this performance today, the Vikings would have beaten anybody but the Jacksonville Jaguars?
No. And a couple of things I'd like to point out is the Vikings still look tentative and scared coaching. The game plan to me looks tentative and scared. And until you start attacking and throw little balls to the wind and say, we're going to go for it, that's when you're running into problems. To answer your question, no, it's correct, Ted. And hearing absorbing a lot of really good information today. The continuing problems of talking about the same thing that Ted just mentioned, that can't be overstated enough. I mean, when does it get to the point? It's the same thing over and over. But we talked on the pregame on Friday night. Remember at the end of that show, Ted, we said we'd like to see the Vikings come out, take charge of a game and just kick somebody's ass in, start to finish. And I noticed Christopher Gates about 5 minutes ago put a message up there saying, when is the last time the Vikings have blown somebody out? The Raider game from last year? I mean, when you play teams like that came in here today, that's last in defense and shitty on offense and Napoleon Dynamite at quarterback. I mean, come on, you gotta throttle these teams. And the Vikings, sure enough, into overtime, false start on the 1-inch line, mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. If you,
Dave, go ahead.
I'm just going to say this real quick. If people think going forward with Kubiak as your OC and Zimmer as your head coach, I seriously have to consider if you're on crack cocaine. I do. Because Gary Kubiak there's only one guy more scared about shit than Kubiak, and Zimmer, and that's Kubiak. That guy, I mean, can you be a little bit more creative? You have some really good offensive players. There's no jet sweeps. There's no,
there was a jet sweep today.
There was a jet sweep.
There was a jet sweep? Okay, yes. One jet sweep the whole fucking season out of 920 plays. I mean,
there's been more than one, but there was one today against Cook.
The coaching staff is just, you can't, I don't know.
All right,
I got a question.
Real
go
quick.
ahead, Ted.
Dave, and then Flip, answer real quick. Dave, would the Vikings have beaten with their performance today on offense and defense, would they have beaten anybody other than the Jacksonville Jaguars today?
Probably the Jets.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All right, yeah, Jets. Flip?
I don't agree with that. Probably the Jets comment. I think that's debatable. I'm looking at a game right now. The Arizona Cardinals, who the Vikings are watching right now. All Vikings fans are watching this Cardinals-Rams game to say, maybe we can see into the playoffs. Well, the Cardinals are tied going into the halftime against the Los Angeles Rams. Oh, sorry, Drew. Sorry. Shit. It's a tie game. And, are they playing the best football in the world? No, but they're tied playing a better opponent. The Vikings have had one punch above their weight game this year. It was on the road against the Green Bay Packers. And
that they won.
Exactly.
They've had more than one a punch above their weight game.
No, they haven't. They've
only beaten one team with a winning record. They've only beaten one team with a winning record. And that
I said, but punch above their weight.
No, they did not
Seattle
punch above their
and
weight
the
against
Titans.
Seattle. What type of expectations do you have for this team when you consider that Titans game and Seattle game punching above their weight? That's the weight class they should be fighting with and competing with on a weekly basis. That's not punching above their weight. That's expected for this football team, and that's the expectations we had for this football team.
Well, I would say that about
going into this year. Okay, fine. If you wanna say that the Titans game was a moral victory and the
I'm not saying it's a moral victory. What I'm saying is
you go ahead
we
and do
expect
that.
the Vikings to be equal to playing with the top of every division.
The Vikings to win those games, Dave. We expect the Vikings to win those games. Okay, and this Tampa game is we expect.
And you talk about me being on magic mushrooms.
For the expectations we came into the season, I understand that people have reduced their expectations since the start of the year, since September. But coming in this year, we expect the Vikings to compete with Tampa Bay, okay, and win against Tampa Bay. And if they come out in the first half like they did today, then we just have to accept the fact that the Vikings are not meeting expectations.
I love Carla Jones's comments, man. I gotta throw that in. Carla Jones is a must commenter on this show, man. She posts some great stuff. Go ahead.
Okay, let's play this little game.
Let's play a game.
So in the NFC playoff seeding picture, and this year 7 teams go to the playoffs, more than usual. And I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the year if like 12 teams go. But right now, 7 teams go.
8 is maximum.
7 teams go. The Vikings are currently 8th. The 7th seed right now, as it stands right now, with games that have been finished and games yet to play on Sunday, the 6th of December, the day before Pearl Harbor Day, in the year of our Lord 2020, the Arizona Cardinals sit 6th. Would they beat the Cardinals in the playoffs?
Playing like they did today? They wouldn't beat Bologna Tech University.
Around the room, Drew, Dave, Flip.
No.
Would the Vikings beat Cardinals? Dave.
I have no idea. They play up to their teammates, and the Cardinals have been known to play just as bad as the Vikings.
Flip.
Can't you just say yes or no? Can't you just make a decision?
The 5th seed is the LA Rams. Drew.
Oh, we're not beating the Rams. No.
Dave.
The 7-9 Giants made the playoffs and won the Super Bowl.
He doesn't answer the question.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, yes or no? Would they beat the Rams on a neutral field because they're all playing neutral fields right now?
Yes or no? He can't do it.
Ted, if you're looking for confidence, for fan confidence in this football team, there's only one way to get fans confident in this team, and that's to beat the Buccaneers. Beat them, and then you beat the Bears, and then you beat the Lions, and then you beat the Saints.
And the Saints.
You streak into the playoffs. That's how you gain confidence. Should we have that confidence now? No way. But they've got to win 3, if not 4, of the rest of the games in this year to build fan confidence. Otherwise, the playoffs are just some consolation prize that keeps Mike Zimmer in town.
He's going to be kept in town no matter what.
But you know what the problem is?
We don't have to be happy about it.
Obviously.
If they beat the Saints or Tampa, people are going to, well, gee, look at the Vikings are overachieving. They can't ever get ahead in the. They can't.
No, that's fine.
They don't string enough good things together. They don't string.
But
enough.
I'm leaving the window open where, look, if they win the next 4, that'll be 6 wins in a row to end the 2020 season, and you're 10-6, and you're going into the playoffs. Then, yeah, I have hope, and I'm okay with Mike Zimmer, and I'm saying, hey, let's do this thing in the playoffs. Maybe we can get to the big dance. That's what I need to see.
Okay. And
That's fair. That's fair.
Flip, those are very fair points. I will grant you that. Those are fair points. But with how the Vikings have played to this point in the season, do you expect them to automatically flip on the consistency switch that we have yet to see through, what, 12 games now?
No, I think this is the same team.
Yeah,
this
that's
is the
kind of my
same team that we saw in week one, to be honest.
I mean, I'm sure they've got a hell of a game. I have no doubt they have an absolute fantastic game from beginning to end of them, from beginning to end between Tampa, Chicago, New Orleans, and Detroit, and they're going to look phenomenal because they do that once or twice a year. And you could argue that game in Lambeau was that game. They played a great game from beginning to end. But I don't see them doing that. For these 4 remaining games, there's going to be a lot of inconsistency somewhere. And then if they do get to the playoffs, because Flip's rule, now that we're 500, we can talk playoffs. If they do, that they're going to continue that for the wild card divisional and beyond. I mean, the competition gets better and better as the season gets later and later, and I'm just, I think we're sitting on a pile of fool's gold right now.
So you know what? To be a Vikings fan is to dream, and
do I need to get the?
I think
we only going.
Get it going.
I don't have it loaded, or I would.
We only have one goal as Vikings fans. We want to see a Super Bowl. So let's just say what the season is. If we want to win a Super Bowl, we're talking about 8 wins in a row. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It would be fucking amazing, and I really want it to happen. I'm going to make that crystal clear. It would be so cool if the Vikings just win the game, win the rest of the regular season games, and the postseason hot, streak into the playoffs, and then we just got a Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Harrison Smith machine that can't be stopped on the way to the first purple Super Bowl. I would love for that to happen. I don't expect any Vikings fans to be confident about that, but we can dream. So let's keep on dreaming, because that's what it means to be a Vikings fan.
Dreamer.
That's what it means to be most NFL team fans.
Mark Larson.
That scenario.
That dream always ends in a nightmare.
But it technically only takes winning 4 games in a row. You got to make the dance and then win those next 4.
Well, since we got
that would
Rockney
be
as head
4
coach,
and
I'm not
4
worried about it.
Would be 8.
Would be 8, but they could lose 1 and still make the dance.
I don't think so.
And then next 4. If they
Raymond,
lost,
I don't understand your comment. I'm just going to say that. Sorry. I haven't moved any goalposts. My expectations for this team every year are playoffs number 1, NFC North Division title number 2, Super Bowl number 3. So, look, a nice win to move us from 5-6 to 6-6. Is that supposed to make me switch from we're not good to we're making the Super Bowl? No, I just spelled out what the dream is, and I believe in that dream, and I will cheer for that dream. But I'm not gonna act like we're anywhere close. Sorry, Raymond.
I'm not gonna sit here and throw my hands in the air for being decent. I've never cheered on decent. I want to be. How I feel about decent, Ted Glover. I want to be better.
Look it up in the dictionary. What's decent? It's 8 and 8.
He's a decent coach.
Here's my thing, and I think, Flip, if I may ask, how old are you?
I'm 36.
36. Okay. So, but you've been watching the Vikings since what was the earliest season you remember watching the Vikes?
Oh my! I want to say like Anthony Carter, like 91, 90, around that time frame. Yeah.
Okay, so you've been around the block. You've suffered your fair share of pain. I get it. But for guys like Drew and I and Dave, I don't mean to speak for you two, and if I'm not, just let me know. I'm to the point in my life with Vikings fandom. Look, my dad passed away. He was 86, and we watched Vikings games from the early 70s on. Sid Hartman was 100, and he didn't see the Vikings win a Super Bowl. I'm to the point where if I don't feel like this is a Super Bowl team, then I care, but I don't care like I used to. I think the Vikings on the current trajectory they're headed with the current leadership and a fair chunk of the key personnel are not a Super Bowl team. And if you are not a Super Bowl team, I don't want to say you're wasting my time, but I got less years in front of me than I got behind me. So I want a team that can compete and win the Super Bowl. That team was in 2017 and they got throttled in Philly. And they've been kind of on a slow decline ever since. Other than that win in New Orleans last year, this team has been on a slow decline since 13-3 in 2017. And if you're on a slow decline, that means you're not getting closer to the Super Bowl. If you're not getting closer to the Super Bowl, then you need to ask why you're not and answer those questions and get the battleship turned in the direction of the Super Bowl. So I think that's what the Vikings need to do. And barring an absolute miracle, this is not a Super Bowl team. They're just not. And they're not. They may win a few more games. They may even get to the playoffs and win an exciting wild card game. Okay, cool. But when you look at the teams ahead of them in the NFC, somebody is going to hand them their ass, and it's going to be embarrassing. And we're gonna be right back here asking all these questions we're asking right now. Why did this team come out so flat? Why can't they run the ball when they're supposed to? Why can't Kirk Cousins step up when he needs to step up? Why did the defense roll over like a dead fish in a boat? I mean, there's going to be all these questions we've been asking for the better part of 2 years. We're going to start asking again. And then what's your answer going to be then? Got a decent coach.
Yeah, and what's scarier, you want to start answering those same questions in September again and roll the whole thing over again.
Yeah.
Do you really want to do that? Or do you want to try to get something better?
I'm going to start calling the Wolf ownership the Sisyphus ownership group because, man, they keep rolling the rock up the hill and it keeps rolling back down on them.
That's
Preach. Look, y'all, I'm going to be honest. Like, when I was first invited to come on this show, it was because of the three of you and what you represent in Minnesota Vikings fandom. And the number one thing that is true on every podcast we do is we are an accurate reflection of what Vikings fans are. So if you think we're being too pessimistic, that's your problem. That's not our problem. Like Ted Glover and Drew and Dave, this is what all Vikings fans think. This is we share it. We get excited. We're excited about Justin Jefferson. We're excited about all the good things the Vikings have. But to be a Vikings fan is to want a Super Bowl. We want a Super Bowl. And so you balance the good things that the young guys are doing with where this team is headed overall. And so, look, I think they're actually building something here. It's just a question of, do they start looking at now or do they start looking at, 2-3 years down the road? Because it's going to hurt a lot. Vikings fans are very slow to accept the rebuild because they know that adds another 3, 4, 5 years to their fanhood. But you gotta be honest with either the 8-0 dream or run it back next year or start the rebuild next year. Those are the three options. 6-6, the 8-0 dream's there. Maybe we can win the Super Bowl this year, but it's a pie in the sky idea.
Dave, I think everybody agrees on this show right now. I think everybody agrees the Vikings have really good talent to build around on both sides of the ball. Yay or nay?
That was really well said by Flip. I'm going to throw that out there.
Yeah,
that was really well said.
Well.
But I want to give you guys
to clear something up. I was
different.
only asked to be on this show, Flip, because I look the most like Hub Meads. That's the only reason I was even asked to be on the show.
That's not true. But anyway.
I mean, come on.
But let me give you a different point of view.
All right, go ahead, Dave. Go ahead, Dave.
And just, this is a different way of thinking. As you said, the Vikings have never won a Super Bowl. Not just in our lifetimes, never, right? And they're going into, what is this, their 60th season. They have never won a Super Bowl. The likelihood of them winning a Super Bowl is minute, right? They haven't yet. They haven't proved it yet. Now, you want to talk about decent and consistently making the playoffs. I prize, this is me personally, I prize that decent team that makes the playoffs, even if they lose, because it helps develop the relationship between me and my family. It was passed on from my dad, who was a Bears fan, his dad, who was a Giants fan, to me, who's a Vikings fan, to my kids, who are Vikings fans, unfortunately, the one that was a Green Bay Packers fan, right? But the love of football and that whole cheering and family experience that we get, hoping that our team does well, gets to the playoffs, and hopefully wins, but hasn't yet. But that whole experience is fun, and I enjoy that. Me being pissy and moaning because the team isn't getting there, I'd rather have the consistency and the good memories that come with that than to piss and moan the rest of my life away, because I don't have that many years left either, hoping the Vikings strike gold and knowing that it's more likely they find some shit coach, become the Jets, Browns, Detroit, or whoever. I like what football brings to me and my family, and I want to keep that no matter what. That's why I fight, even if it isn't the Super Bowl. I'm hoping the Super Bowl. I would love to see a Super Bowl win, but I want to stay competitive.
That's really well said, Dave.
That's very eloquent, and I get that. And I felt that way for many years. I was good with, getting to the playoffs and getting a couple exciting wins and talking about that for a lot of years. But do you think this team under Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman and Kirk Cousins and Chad Beebe and Austin Cutting
Angel's crying.
will win the Super Bowl? I want your honest opinion. I'm not going to make fun of you. I want your honest opinion. Do you think Mike Zimmer is a guy that can lead the Vikings to win a Super Bowl?
Do I think he has the coaching talent to? And not in 2020.
In 2020 or even in 2 years from now.
I do believe he can do that. Now, do I deem it probable? No. Now, do I deem this roster anywhere near probable? Heck no. It's going to take moon dust, unicorn farts and stuff like that to get it there. But I don't see it. But I don't see who's behind Coach Door number 3. We don't know. And that is so much of a gamble. But Mike Zimmer is a good coach. We have more winning seasons than we do losing ones.
And amazing point, Dave, because what's so lost in all this argument is we all have our sides, but it's not clear cut. And the idea that, we're in a season where the defense has been severely impacted by injuries, but they've made progress. The idea that we, as Vikings fans, we have no idea what a Super Bowl run looks like. Like, you talk about what the Giants did when they first beat the Patriots in their undefeated season. You talk about how the Eagles got to their Super Bowl after going 9-7. We don't know what a Super Bowl looks like. So to fight it out to get to 6,
that's not true. I remember 1976.
Exactly. There's my point. Is y'all are more knowledgeable than I am. But
I also remember the NFC Championship games. And the feeling going up into those. And then I also remember, the 41 donut and everything else. The missed kick in Atlanta. And all the frustration that brings.
What I'm trying to say is this might be our best shot with Mike Zimmer, with this team, with Kirk Cousins. We just need to get the defense healthy. I totally understand that point of view. But it's not working out. The results aren't working out unless we start getting hot and we start living that 8-0 dream.
We'll see. I'm just not optimistic.
They just got to make it and win 4 in a row. That's, they got to make it there. That's going to take winning almost all the remainders. But
I think we're going to look back.
I think they can afford one loss. But that's
I think we're going to look back in 5 or 6 years and realize that 2017 was the high water mark for the Mike Zimmer era.
It very well maybe.
And everything else has been spinning their wheels.
And then they went for the QB that they thought was going to take him the rest of the way, and it failed miserably.
That's just
1976.
It's just the craziest part about the Mike Zimmer era is calling the high water mark a year where they had a backup quarterback for really the entire season.
Yeah, I think all but one game.
Yeah, all but one game. They had just, really good receiver play and just didn't show up for one game in the playoffs after being incredible the entire season. So even if the Vikings, the Vikings could be 15-1, and Vikings fans still are not going to have confidence in the playoffs. It's just,
what?
If 2017 was a high watermark, then how can we not pass that with an actual quarterback?
It's about now. Zimmer is, I'll use the term decent head coach. It's about now. Zimmer doesn't have the fire he used to have. He's not the same guy. He's not. So you want to go forward with? He's not. He's not as fire as he was the first 3 years when he was here.
He fought through so much in those first 3 years. He fought through.
But he looks, and I'm not putting him down. No, coaches get burnt out. Look what happened to Vermeil and Herm Edwards. I mean, coaches get burned. I'm not. The fact that he's not the same guy, I'm not putting him down for it. It happens to coaches in every sport. It happens to the best of the coaches. But Zimmer, to me, doesn't look like the same guy he was even in 2017. He doesn't. And it's about going forward. It's about this season and going forward, not anything about Zimmer in the past. When Zimmer got here, he had a chip on his shoulder. Our defense sucks. I'm going to build a defense. He built a goddamn good defense, top 5 in the league. He did. And he worked on it. 2017, got to the title game. It hasn't been the same since 2017. There's a part of Zimmer that's missing, and I'm not putting him down for it. That happens to coaches. That happens to him, dude. I don't think he's got it anymore. He's not the same guy. And it's about next. It's about moving forward.
You're 100% spot on,
Drew. Great point, Drew.
But Drew,
that's the best point of the show right there.
You're arguing with me about Zimmer. I'm not the one that you got to convince. Literally.
I know that.
I got to take what the Vikings, as an organization, gives me every week and puts on the field on Sunday. And hope for the best.
Zimmer anymore, Dave. I don't, because we don't talk on football terms. That's why we don't talk about Zimmer. But you like him, so everything he does is always going to be an excuse. That's why I stopped talking about it. When you want to talk about Mike Zimmer on football terms only, when you want to do it, you call me up. We'll have a long fucking conversation. But as long as if everything is going to be hedged by the fact that you like him, I don't want to talk to you about it anymore. I really don't. And I'm not trying to be a dick about it, but.
What I'm saying is,
but I'm going to be a dick about
what either one of us say has nothing to do with what the Vikings do on a Sunday.
And just because you like the guy for other reasons besides football shouldn't have anything to do with how good of a coach he is. So use your own fucking logic, dude. Use it yourself.
What's your definition of a good coach?
Zimmer in 2017 and earlier. That's a good coach. He's not the same guy. Tell me he's the same guy. Tell me he's the same fiery coach. Tell me, Dave. And give me a yes or no answer. Don't give me some hitch-hodge shit about some team that 1977 that played. Is he the same guy? Is Mike Zimmer the same head coach?
We still see him fired up on the sidelines yelling at people.
I honestly
do we not?
Here's the big difference to me. Do you guys remember the 20?
People change.
It would have been the 2015 game against the then St. Louis Rams when they were playing in the Gopher Stadium in TCF Bank. I can't remember who the name of the player was on the Rams, but Teddy Bridgewater scrambled and he slid and was defenseless, and a Rams guy took an absolute cheap shot and knocked him out of the game. And Sean Hill had to win it in overtime. A great game. Vikings won. And Zimmer, I think Mike Zimmer, if he'd have told those guys at the end of the game, keep your helmets on because we're going to go fight everybody on this team, they'd have gone over and kicked the hell out of everybody on the Rams team. I think he would have gone – if he'd have gone up and He said, I'm going to punch Jeff Fisher and then it's on. That would have been an absolute greatest Royal Rumble ever. That Mike Zimmer is not on the sidelines today. Because I remember in that post-game press conference, he was absolutely fired up. And he called Fisher everything that you could in front of a camera without getting bleeped, and thought it was Bush League and said as much, and went on for a couple days, I think. And that passion just isn't there. It's like he's like, well, our kicker can't make an onside kick. Our offensive line doesn't do this. Our secondary's terrible. Well, Mike, where's the 2015 Zimmer? Honestly, where's the 2015 Zimmer? And he's gone through adversity. You're right. I don't think anybody in his first 4 or 5 years as a head coach in his first gig had to put up with as much garbage as Mike Zimmer had, from his eye surgeries to playing in a temporary stadium to losing your franchise quarterback that you drafted and put so much time and effort into, then trading for Bradford and then going to a backup guy. I mean, I get all that. I get it. But man, the 2015 Zimmer isn't there. He just isn't. And if the 2015 Zimmer isn't there, then I don't think this team is going to go to the next level. I just don't.
There we have it. Boom.
God, that's awkward silence. Sorry about that, guys.
Drop the mic.
I'm glad.
Drop the mic.
When you say it, it's awkward silence when you say it. When I say it, Dave's coming out of his chair to attack me. So there's a big difference. As long as you guys say it, we're okay.
It's drop the mic. I will ride or die with that 2015 Mike Zimmer till the end of time. There's no other coach I want in Minnesota.
With the 2015 Zimmer, yeah, sure.
Even the 2017 Zimmer, where he managed. I mean, what he did with Case Keenum, every week, Case Keenum would go out and ball out, and Mike Zimmer would go in and be like, I don't know, he's got to do it again. Just like that style of coaching to get the best out of Case Keenum. That was the same year the same Rams, they had Sean McVay. They were a hot offense, and they came in to play Mike Zimmer, and they scored 7 points on us because you're not fucking with Mike Zimmer when he's on the top of his game and he's coaching up his defense. So I know peak Mike Zimmer, and I want peak Mike Zimmer, but I'm also honest when we're not getting peak Mike Zimmer.
Well,
we won the game. We won the game today.
Let's go to the playoffs, boys. See what happens.
Let's get that 8-0 dream game. I was gonna be more positive until Kurt told me 0 and Rhino told me -12 on the optimism scale. Okay, so I do think there is that dream of win Tampa, and we're rewriting all of this. If we lose to Tampa, we're 6-7. If we win, we're 7-6 in control of our own playoff destiny. And we can make some shit happening because Kirk is still playing well, and we got Justin Jefferson, and we still got Dalvin Cook, and we still got Adam Thielen, and we got a lot of good things that we can start to build on. We got Tiny Dantzler, we got Ted's boy, Tiny Dantzler, making some plays, so we can get up all on this. We just got to get that confidence and get that fire in this football team, and I think the fans make a difference not being there. Firing up this defense like they need it. There's things that can happen. There's steps we can take build on this. Now we're 6-6. Now we fought through the hard parts of this season. So go out and prove that you've grown from September and go out and win a big game. Can't wait to see what they do.
With that, last words, Drew.
I'm pretty excited too to see what happens against the Buccaneers and the Saints. Those are back-to-back games, right? Then those are the next two. Are those the next two?
I think that's 2 of the 3, and I don't have the schedule.
Okay. I am anxious to see what happens with those 2 games. I don't see this still as being a playoff team. They haven't sold me yet much of what Flip talked about earlier. But we're Viking fans, and of course we want to see our team win. And I feel like Hub Meads, and speaking of Hub Meads, he's probably wondering why we handed the ball to Brent McClanahan in that Super Bowl in 1976 and not Chuck Foreman. Mm-hmm. Go Vikes! I hope.
Oh, look, dude, come on. How are you going to make Ted sad like that right before the end of the show?
Ted's never sad, dude. Ted lives a life of happiness, luxury, and some other stuff I can't even talk about on the air. Yeah, I'm anxious to see him play this season out.
Yeah, there we go. Freddie helped us. Bucks, Bears, Saints, Lions, in that order.
The Bucks and Saints are going to be the true test. We'll see, but that's why we're Vikings.
And three of those four are on the road, which we've played better this season.
One of these days, the Vikings are going to play like they did to get today and against Carolina, against a good team, and it's going to be bad. It's going to be ugly.
Well, I think if there are fans in the stadium today, there's no way Jacksonville comes out and scores, 9 points on us on their first 2 drives. There's no way with Vikings fans in that stadium going nuts like we do that happens. So you got to adjust for the times.
That fucking Bailey. That guy's a buzzkill, isn't he? All right, 9-0. We score a touchdown and
last words here, Flip.
Streak into the playoffs. SIP, just like I'm sipping on this whiskey. Let's streak into the playoffs, boys. Let's go get it. Our destiny, we control it. Beat the Buccaneers. And, all this stuff about how we fought through the early season, it won't make a difference when we beat a real team, when we beat Tom Brady. We're going to start having some really great talks. Me, the 3 of y'all, it's just around the corner. All we got to do is start with it next week.
Ted? And you hit your mute button.
Ted, unmute. Ted.
Some time.
Todd.
No.
What'd you do?
Come on, Ted. We got to have your last thought,
Okay.
Ted. Sign language. Give us some sign language or something, man.
Skull.
Vikings.
All right.
Make the field goal.
All right. With that, everybody.
All the fans, love y'all. Let's get this run on the road. Let's start winning some games. I love Jerome, Freddie, Carla, Mary, Cliff. I can't name all y'all who watch our show on a weekly basis. We really appreciate y'all.
I don't like them. No. Without the people commenting on the show, it would be half as much fun. I love all the comments, and I love that they're diehard Viking fans right along with us. So
we're all in this together.
And by all means, feel free to continue this conversation. And we will
Arthur Roach.
We will see you. Yeah, put him up there. Ted. We will see you, believe it or not, tomorrow, because we continue with Vlogmas. Today is day 6. Tomorrow's day 7. And we will return with Climbing the Pocket Network show live. No, pardon me, I'm wrong. Flip, you did it. What's tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, Dave and I are going to break down the 3 most important plays from this Vikings win over the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going to do it during halftime of Monday Night Football. So y'all tune in. You don't want to listen to Boomer and Booger, who even knows who's talking. Come have some time, just 15 minutes with Dave and I. It'll be a fun time.
I'll be there for that.
And then we go live at 9 p.m. the rest of the week until we hit the pregame show on Friday night again with this crowd. All of you have a rest of a great Sunday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and Skol Vikings!
Skol Vikes.
Thank you for watching or listening. As always, if you like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. And if you're listening to the podcast, please rate us on your favorite aggregator. Skol, everybody.